All right, now let's get into the good stuff, which is how to actually track your food in MyFitnessPal. So on your phone, you can open up the MyFitnessPal app, and along the bottom, you're going to see 4 different tabs. There's the dashboard, diary, plan, and more. For this, we're going to be focusing in on your diary, which is where you're going to actually track all of your food throughout the day. So when you open that up, you're going to see each meal. You'll see breakfast, lunch, dinner. You can actually customize those. We'll talk through that in a later module. But for now, we're going to focus on breakfast. And within each meal, you can click the add button or add food button. And so we're going to do that. And then there's really 2 different ways that you can go about adding food. One is searching the database. So up at the top, you'll see a little search bar, and you can just search any food that you want. I'm going to search eggs as a random example. So we can pull that up. You can see a few different entries come up. Mainly what you're looking for when you're searching for different things is you want to see that green check mark. That means that it's verified. So with this database, anybody can add something to it. So I could add something that's then going to show up in your database. The problem with this is that not all of the entries that people put in are accurate. So you do need to kind of look through it a little bit. The green check mark, like I said, it means it's verified. So it's more likely to be accurate, but I have even seen some with a green check mark that aren't accurate. So like I said, more likely, but still worth double checking it. So I'm going to click on the first one, eggs, and then you can adjust different things within here. So you can adjust the serving size. In this situation, I'm just going to keep it as 1 egg, and then you can adjust the number of servings. So if I'm eating 2 eggs, I would change it to 2, and then I could hit the little check mark and it's going to add it into my diary under breakfast. Now, if I accidentally logged something that I don't want to be in there, I can delete it out. So if you just swipe over, like on the egg, if you just swipe over, it'll bring up a little delete button, or you can delete it out of your diary. Now, the other way that you can add food into your diary is going to be, again, by clicking that blue add food button, but this one is specific to the premium member. So you do need to be paying for MyFitnessPal Premium, and this is where you can use the barcode scanner. So right across the top, you'll see barcode scan. You can click that button. I'm not currently paying for Premium, so I can't actually show you an example, but if you do, it would bring up your camera and you would just be able to scan any item that has a barcode on it. You would just scan it with your camera and it would pull up the exact item that you're looking for. All you would need to do is just adjust the serving size to what you're eating. Now, what I want to do is actually go through and show you an example of how you would go about tracking a meal. So let's start with breakfast. Everybody at this point has done the flush, so you should be pretty familiar with the flush smoothie. So I'm going to go through and show you how to actually track that. So what we'll do in here is at the top, we're going to just search each ingredient. Now, you can look up your apple juice. So, apple juice, you can see one comes up right at the top. This is one that I've used before, which is why it popped up. And actually, I guess I'll tell you that as well. So when you come into the database to search, you'll notice across my screen, there's a handful of foods up here. These are foods that I've commonly eaten. So as you start to track longer and longer, MyFitnessPal will get familiar with what types of foods you eat and what brands you eat, and then it'll store them in your history, which can make tracking easier when you're eating a lot of the same foods. So in this situation, I've tracked this apple juice before, so it's right at the top. And then you can just adjust the serving size. So depending on the calories that you're eating, you might be drinking 4 ounces in your smoothie, which would mean your serving size would need to be half of 8 ounces. Or if you're putting 8 ounces in your smoothie, you could change the serving size to 1. Then we can literally just go through each ingredient. So if you're using the medical grade protein powder, we could look up the Medipure. Oops, I typed it wrong. The Medicure protein powder, 1 scoop. We can add that into our diary. The flaxseed oil. So this, you can see the serving size that it comes up is 1 tablespoon. We can actually look in here. There's a lot of different options. I'm going to come down to 1 teaspoon because that's how much we put in the smoothie, and change the serving size to 1. And then we can go through each of the ingredients. So the blueberries, we can adjust the serving size there. We can add in the spinach. I'm going to leave it as 30 grams. We can add in the cucumber and the celery. So now everything for that smoothie is in my diary. So if I actually go back into my diary, we can see all those ingredients that we just added along with the calories. So that smoothie has 374 calories for the day. If you are paying for the premium, this is again where you would be able to see underneath breakfast, it would actually show you a breakdown of your macronutrients in that meal. So it would show you the exact number of carbs, proteins, and fats in there as well.